Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the Technical Trader at TechTrader.com. It's Saturday, the 14th of September. This is the weekend webinar. Big week for the markets. As you can see, support held on the S&P. A V bottom with right-handed extension has developed. A run up to resistance line. And also, perhaps you can call that a cup and handle. That's a lot of people do. Most important part is to break through here. And if we back off, that would be understandable. But a breakout could go vertical and really have a big follow-through week. We'll see. Bottom line is the target is going to be 5,900, give or take 25 points, in my opinion, on the S&P 500. So what does the Nasdaq 100 look like? Not strong. You can see we're up against the highs on the S&P, right? The NDX is only up against the declining tops line. Hasn't even taken out the prior high. So this has work to do, and we're at resistance. And pull back from here could quickly get back down to about 18,600. So we need a breakout, and we got to break out over 19,938.40. You do that, you head back to 2672, which is the all-time high, and then we'll see where it goes. On a long-term basis, if this wants to keep on going towards the year-end rally, 22,000 plus might be a possibility. Just giving you the what-ifs. On the downside, any break of 18.4, in my opinion, could really plunge this market because it also takes out the long-term declining rising bottoms line. So there's the S&P and the NDX. But let's look at the transportation and small caps, which are not confirming either. Transportation ran up just like the Nasdaq 100 and the small cap index. Both all look like they're forming wedges at the declining top line. So we're going to need to break out and go through the next resistance levels. In the case of the IWM, you need over 222.5. The transportation index needs over 16,050 up here. And the NDX, of course, is going to need over 19,940 roughly. So, I mean, this is a place where the markets can pull back and continue to coil a wedge or break out and fly. Again, when we look at the S&P, you'll see a much better pattern in terms of, the bottom pop to resistance, pull back, another pop to resistance. So a breakout here, and we could be watching the market do a melt up. It's not out of realm of possibilities considering so many people were short and negative on the markets. Okay, let's look at the underlying indicators. The McClellan oscillator, which had gotten overbought at 1 plus 150, got down to minus 150, and that didn't take long. Now it's spiked up to plus 50. A nice move off the low, but still not overbought, which would be up around 150, 180, 200. What about the percentage of stocks over the 40? Okay, I'm having so much problems with this one. There you go. Okay, the percentage of stocks above the 40 jumped from 30% to 55% just in 3 days. But that doesn't get extreme or overbought until 75, 80 plus up there. You can see every time the market got up in that range, we had a pullback. Every time, and a lot of times, the bottoms have obviously varied, but you can see there have been rising bottoms of late. Nevertheless, we're not overbought yet. And the VIX is not signaling any apathy, but at the same time, after a big spike and pullback, it tried to pop, could not get over 24. It's back down to 16. Until this gets down in the 10, 12 range, I'm not going to be too concerned about the market just yet. So the market is set up for a melt up and a spike up with these indicators getting into the zones that they normally do when the market is an extreme overbought situation, which it's not right now. Let's look at the components. On the Nasdaq 100, these are market leaders, of course. Apple has had a big move off the April low from 164 to 237. A big Fib retracement right here to support, and then a spike up. Now this V bottom with platform is a very bullish pattern if they can take out 233. Then we're looking at 245. Amazon, really nice comeback indeed. Imploded in 3 days, going from 190 down to 150, 40 points. And then big run up, filling the gap, pulling back and testing, and then breaking out. So it's a 1-2, and this is wave 3 with resistance at around 190 and a half. And then the target's 201 and 210. Google, the weaker of the lot, as you can see, has been in a downtrend, and basically this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 1 and 2, and this is wave 3. Wave 4 has started, or it's a 3-wave corrective, and we break out and we come right up into the zone with a target near 170, give or take a point. Microsoft also with a big plunge and then a nice rally with a right-hand extended V pattern, or we call it an angled W pattern, whatever you want to call it. Bottom line is this broke out on Friday above the 50, above the lateral price resistance. And so we might be headed into the 442, 448 zone, and that would be the target for the next leg on Microsoft. Netflix, powerful advance off the low. Nice flag or falling wedge pattern. Twice held the moving average, the 50-day moving average, and we bounced. But key resistance is 711. We got to get through that. If we do, 750 might be a target. Meta, not terrific, but it did bounce on Thursday. Not a follow through on Friday. This was a bit of a lagger with a double top at 544. We got to get through that to really make a difference. That's your next target. And resistance with support at 495. Monster of the midway would be NVDA. The long-term chart is still incredible. This V bottom plunge in August with the rest of the tech group, and a big rally to resistance, followed by a retracement of about a 0.618 fib retracement, and then a bounce. We're at resistance here. Next target would be 132, and then you're off to the races. If that occurs, that'll drag the whole market with it, in my opinion. And Tesla, coming through a declining top sign with a pop to resistance at the gap, and then a pullback. But that held after retesting the trend that was broken, we're right back up again. This has got to take out 235 with energy. If it does, you're looking at 250 and 265. So that's a quick look at some of the big and more important components of not only the NASDAQ 100, but the S&P 500 as well. And now I'm looking at some of the major ETFs we follow. The semiconductors, very similar to what you're seeing in the market, but with a massive top potential if it broke down underneath 204. On the other side of the coin is we're just very much like the NDX, the SMH is at declining top sign. At moving average resistance. I think the key is going to be if it gets to 244, then you're looking at 255. You get to that, 265. A roll over here won't be good. Key support down in that zone near 212. But that's semiconductors and financials took a big hit, but bounced back Thursday, Friday. Note where the financials held right near that gap, not far from the 50. So now we draw back and give that, and that as your channel. So we're looking for a retest of 135 and then maybe up to 140, 45. Everything depends on interest rate cuts, how they react to it, whether it's sell the news or not, etc. And biotechs, LABU curled up. You can see somewhat of a wedge as well, or a coil. There's resistance right around 144.56 in that area. 140, yeah, in that area. And then the double top at 151. So this is key resistance. We get through it. That will be a massive move. We're starting to see a lot of junior biotechs act well. Maybe these come on as well, and we'll see what happens. But promising patterns now developing in those major ETFs. What's up with oil? Plunge City, and I've been telling you I don't like the pattern, especially after we broke last week. So plunging with a gap down through the trend line, always a negative thing. Now the snapback could be very negative, especially on low volume with lousy technicals. I'm still looking for the possibility the USO gets down to 64.5 and maybe even as low as 61. Gas, well, we finally got somewhat of a turn, I think, in natural gas. It looks like it, but it's hard to tell from BOIL, right? A bit of a move. I wouldn't call this very exciting. Also note there's not a lot of volume and technicals behind it, and it's near moving average resistance. So until I see Boyle get firmly above 10 with energy, I'm not going to get too interested. And after that, we have 11 and 12, both resistance levels. So this has not even broken out. I wouldn't get too crazy. That covers oil, gas, but gold and silver are ahead, and they are motoring. GDX had a fantastic week, moving from 36 to 40, and now may be headed for 42 at the top of the channel, but there's also key resistance across here, which is dealing with right now, and that's why a breakout through this level could be a really big move for the GDX. JNUG also coming up through resistance. We got it through here. I'm not kidding when I think JNUG could double from here, from 45 to 8 to 90. That might be an interesting swing, but I hate swinging exchange traded commodity ETFs, that's for sure. You see how choppy they are, but something is afoot in the gold and silver sector. Speaking of silver, here's the AGQ. Not quite as strong, but breaking out of a 1, 2, 3 wave corrective with a right-handed extended V. 44 and 47 are your near-term targets for AGQ. And so gold and silver doing well, and we talked about oil and gas and the major ETFs for the industry. Let's get to the charts. We have a lot of longs to cover today. Here's AAOI, tech trader swing, broke out, wedged, broke out again, and stalled Friday and went inside day. I think we're headed to 16.5 next, then 2021. ABUS, a beautiful little low-price biotech that keeps running in a beautiful rising channel. Where's the stop? I don't know yet, but I just look for $6 in the immediate term. ADMA, how about this one? 3 to 18, sixfold, and now it's consolidating. Where's your target? 23. In the gold sector, Agnico Eagle, one of the majors. Fantastic chart coming out of a base. Legs 1, 2, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it might be nearing the end of the third wave, but it could accelerate. And we might even get up into the low 90s. AAOI, I wanted to show you this one because I've been following it for a year and a half, and I love that base breakout, big, beautiful rising channel, and then a pullback. Notice how that tried to break out and then backed off again. And it's now curling up and was up all 4 days last week. Now, I think this one, if it breaks out of this entire coil, which has digested the big gain from February through June, we could see a stock in the 30s or 40s at some point. Afrm broke out of a big down channel that lasted 9 months or so. Breakaway gap, an attempt at refilling the gap, didn't quite get there, but it did get to the trend line and bounced sharply. We get to this level, I'm looking for a 50, 51 zone, and then mid to high 60s beyond that if it flies. AGI, another junior gold. Alamos, one of the better looking junior golds. Look at this chart. It's literally gone from 6 3/4 to 20 and change, more than tripled over the last couple of years. In particular, though, since March low at 11 and change, it's almost doubled. Long term, there's resistance up here. This is the all-time high, but once you get through that, this thing could fly into the mid to high 20s. AGQ, we showed you that's a silver ETF. AGX, interesting construction firm. Kind of a rounding bottom, flag, spike, breakout, breakaway move, pullback retest of support and the trend line, and then a bounce, retest, and bounce. This is a little choppy, but a beautiful chart that's taken it from literally from 42 to 95 and doubled. If it consolidates a bit, you might see 105. ALDX, a little junior biotech, broke out, and now is in a beautiful rising channel that does have some resistance near 5 First resistance, 6 3/4, then 9. ALHC exploded last week and broke out. It's the highest level we've seen in a couple of years. My target now 14. AORT's been on my list for a long time, ever since the breakaway gap in November of last year. Then the consolidation breakout here. It had a stair-step move up and continues to do so. You can see support right in this range near 23. It popped to 25.6. It needs to get over 27. If it does that, 29 and 32.3 are your targets. APP, AAPL been having a phenomenal couple of years, having gone from 10 to 112. This is 11-fold increase. Recently breaking out of a big consolidation range with a V bottom and right-handed extension. Held the 50 and popped. My target is 117 and 137. Apps, breaking out of inverse head and shoulders with a breakaway gap and big volume. It then ran to the target. It's now pulled all the way back to the moving average and breakout point. I think it's a buy here with a tight stop under 250. The targets, 3 3/4, 4.5, and 5 1/4. ASTS, beautiful breakaway move. Spiked up, rising channel, rising flag, and now corrective consolidation. Target 38.47. In the gold sector, AU had I think they had a negative report and the stock came down, but it's right at the trend line. It's bouncing. Keep an eye on this one. I think it's going to be a $35 stock in the next few months. AUR, Aurora Innovation, spiked up, pulled back, and popped. Retested again and then broke out. Right now it's at resistance. My target is 6. AVGO, this is Broadcom, massive move up this week, right to resistance. If it's going to be a big runner, I would look for 185 and 220. ADPT, another beautiful software stock, broke out of a base and had a rising channel all year. Right now it's consolidating bullishly. If it accelerates, $13 target. BBY, I think Best Buy has broken out of a massive 2-year base with a big breakaway gap and a retest. I like it. Should be a swing to 111 and then 120. BLBD is going through a 3-month consolidation of a big run up that saw it go from 17 to 60. I don't think it's done yet. And if it gets to this level, say 54, the targets are 60 and 70. BLND, a junior software stock as well, with a nice pattern, rising channel, consolidating in here. Some resistance of 4 1/4. Your targets are 5 and 6.5. BSX has been phenomenal since it based out in 23 and broke out late in the year, and has run from the low 50s to the mid 80s. Some resistance up here, but this could be 88 to 92. BYRN is a new tech traded swing. It popped and pulled back. We put a swing on. It's gone from 14 to 17. It needs to get to 17.5, 18, and then we're looking at low 20s. Kava, beautiful long-term rising channel from the over the last year from the high 20s to the 123. Pretty big damn move, right? Doesn't look done yet. This could be 150, 60, 70 at some point if the momentum keeps up and the stop at 110 is not taken out. Another junior gold stock, Coeur d'Alene. It's actually gold and silver. I got an intermediate target at 9.5 3/4. CDNA tech traded swing with a beautiful inverse head and shoulder breakaway gap and wedge, and then a run up to the channel top and a flag. This is a 1, 2, 3 in my opinion. That's 4 and 5 makes this a $45 stock. Seco Environmental, look at this chart. Beautiful long-term pattern. Basically 4 to 32, 8-fold increase, and now this. Targeting 32 and 37. One of the blue chip quality stocks that's been really running in this market, and mostly consumer products, Colgate Palmolive. Look at this one go from 69 to 109. It's pretty amazing. Where can I go to? 116 and 122. Cellbrite Digital, or Cellbrite DI. Beautiful rising channel, breaking out of a base, retest, and just keeps there stepping its way up. Don't know how far it can go, but right now momentum says 19 and 21. CLPT breaks out of a base, spikes up, pulls back, forms a wedge. I break out of this area, and the leg measures to me 1617. CMPO, long-term resistance broken here with a breakaway gap and a big run up. It's very, very strong, but it's at the channel top. If it accelerates, you can see 1415. CNK broke out of a massive inverse head and shoulders that took 3 years to develop. It's moved right back to key resistance from the 21 high. Extension target would be 35. Centessa, 1, 2, 3, 4, big fifth wave up. It's at the top of the channel, maybe overbought in the fifth wave, but I wanted to show you how powerful this pattern was. Cogent, Biosciences, beautiful rising channel was broken. The lateral price resistance was broken. It popped to the channel top and backed off. My target, 13. COMM breaks out of the inverse head and shoulder base and starts up its way higher very sharply. My targets are 7 and 9. Koya, old friend of ours, which did very well here with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move. Then came down in a declining channel, formed a V bottom with a platform. On Friday, it popped about 7.5% on low volume. It's a low volume trader anyway, thin, but it can scoot. I'll follow through here. I'm looking for 8 and 9.5. Nice setup. CRMD popped, retested the breakout point, and then took off, targeting 8. Kinetics, beautiful long-term rising channel. There's your breakaway in September of 23. A year later, it's gone from 17 to 54, but it's consolidating now. It looks like 62 is your next target. Criteo breaks out, runs up, retests, spikes to the channel top, and backs off. Right now, it's at support. If it does extend, 53, 55 target. Cobalt has gone from 67 to 160, almost 100 points. It pulled back to the channel and then popped, but reversed Friday. What you're looking for in this one is a move over 157, which could lead to 175. Carvana, well, we talk about it every week. It's one of the biggest winners of the last 2 years. It literally went from under 4 to over 150, almost 160. So the percentages are huge. It pulled back. There is key support on it here at 118.19. And resistance is in the 155.60 range, but who knows where this can go. DCTH, Cath broke out, V-bottomed at 2 and change and ran up to almost 12. It's nearly a 6-fold increase. It had a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave started. Might be only 1, 2 of 5. We could see 3, 4, and 5. Get this to the mid-teens. Dell, after was one of our big picks back here that went from literally 59 to and tripled to more than tripled to 179. The tech correction took this one down, filled the gap, and then V-bottom with a right-hand extension, like a lot of stocks. If Dell gets up to 118, it may run quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see 129 and 142. Denali, I added it back this week. I've been following this one for years. Massive downtrend. Saw it go from the 80s down to the mid-teens, reversed and channeled up. But Friday was a big day for it, up 3. And I think it's going to test about 33, and then maybe break out and go to the high 30s. Dole, the food company, nice steady rise in the last couple of months, taking it from 11.75 to 16 and change. There's some key overhead resistance up here, but it could very well see high teens. EVN, a utility stock, broke out of a base, flagged, popped, formed another coil, broke out again. I got a $28 target. EGO, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, junior gold with an inverse head and shoulder breakout and rising flag. I'm looking for 25, folks. EOLS breaks out across resistance through a double triple top and then spiked on Friday. $20 target. ERJ, a tech trader swing, broke out and ran up. So by this extended 6 points above our takeout. My target's 42 and 45. FEIM, a tech trader swing after popping and pulling back, then popped right back to resistance, but now it's backed up again. Must stop under 11.5. Want it over 14.5. Target 17. Vktx also added this weekend. A massive left shoulder, double head, and right shoulder pattern at the neckline. Keep an eye on it because a pop here could lead to high teens. NFLX had a tough day on Friday, but the inverse head and shoulders and breakout caused the tech trade to swing alert. I think the stock makes it into the 26.7 zone. FTAI, one of the strongest stocks on Wall Street, no kidding. 15 to 125 in the last couple of years. Look at this thing run. Channel top says 150 or better might be a target. Gato, a Mexican silver stock, broke out of a coil and popped last week. Look at the buying pickup on it. Looking for 20. GDS has been in a tear since April when it was 5 and change. It more than tripled, and now it's consolidating in a zone. Should it break out? $20 is your target. GE, I wanted to show you this because I haven't really of late, but it's one of the better stocks on Wall Street. Check out a move for 2 years from 38 to 180. Almost 179 and change. There was a breakout on Friday too, by the way, which could lead to 195. GOLD, that's Barrick Gold, one of my favorite golds as well, is breaking out, and this is a multi-year high. Looking for a run to 25.6. GitLab, breaking a declining top line with a breakaway gap over through the moving averages, and now a perfect little wedge is forming. Keep an eye on this one because any move through 57, and I think you're going to see 61 and maybe then 67. Construction Stride Granite, one of the biggest in the country, broke out of a beautiful base and has been channeling up for now for almost a year. Another new high at near 77 on Friday. This could accelerate into the 85.90 range. Halozyme in a beautiful rising channel as well. Multi-year highs, all-time highs. Now looking for our stock to make it to 80. Harrow, one of our tech trader swings, broke out and flagged, and we put a swing on it. It's done nothing but go up. 16 to 46, targeting 60. Howmet, another aerospace company with a beautiful rising channel, now in a consolidation again with a target at 110.15. IAG, another junior gold, breaks out of a base, runs up wedges, pops, got a little bit of a falling wedge, another breakout. Target 7. IoT, Samsara, this is at an all-time high, looking for 60. IRM, also at all-time high and running. Can't tell you how far it goes, but I have a 130 target. Coca-Cola is another one of those beautiful blue chips that had a big run this year, taking it from 52 to 73, but target 77 and 80. Light, maybe watch this one carefully. It's building a base over the last 2 years. I think after the V bottom pop and platform, it's moving back up again. What it really needs though is for 61. Then I'm looking at high 60s. LNW finally breaking out of its 4 or 5 month ascending bull coil. Channel top target tells me 130 is a target. LPX, Louisiana Pacific, and other consumer products, more of a building materials type stock. Beautiful rising channel, 115 target. LRN, also a beautiful rising channel from the breakaway gap at last October. It's gone from the mid 40s to the low 80s. I have a target now at 88.90. LSF, beautiful base breakout, falling wedge, mini wedge or pennant, pop, and then a long coil. Keep an eye on it for a breakout because if that occurs, we're looking at 6 and 8. Could be powerful if it pops, but be careful about support. Right now, 340 is support. That brings us to swing Lumen, which went ballistic and pulled back, and then pull back again. Now I had a swing on it here, but it held support and bounced. Really want to see this one over 6 3/4. You get that, you might see it go ballistic. Lunar is another potential. Had that big run early in the year, then multi-month decline. Broke out of a base with a breakaway gap, tested it, forming a wedge. Tried to break out Thursday and pull back, but Friday had a reversal day to the upside, but it was an inside day. Target 7 3/4. 3M was a tech trader swing when it broke out in May. That was at about 96 or 7. It made it up to 135. I have a target now 141.42. Newmont, another major gold, smoking it. With this angle of ascent, I wouldn't be surprised to see 59.60. Neon, beautiful base, spike breakout, ascending bull wedge broke out Thursday, inside day Friday on lower volume. I think the stock goes to 10, 12, 15, 14. NNE, tech trader swing, broke out on Friday through the 50-day moving average, but it needs to get up. Watch for a fall through 17. You get this stock could run into the low to mid 20s. Nova, beautiful chart. This is a solar stock, and now consolidating here, targeting 13.5 and 15. NRIX has been awesome for 1 year now. Actually, 11 months. It's gone from 4 to 26. Doesn't look done yet. 30 and 36 are targets. Netgear with a big breakaway on Thursday, pulled back and then spike on Friday. Looking for 27. NTRA, tech trader swing back, I believe was here. Then consolidated for a couple of months and popped and pulled back. The stock just keeps stair-stepping its way higher, targeting 140 and 155. Novavax with a big breakaway in May and a big sharp run up, followed by a three-wave corrective. Retested the gap, held it, pop, and now platform. Got to break out above 14. You could do that. You're looking at 17 and 20. ONON in the semiconductor sector, beautiful chart. Popped, broke out, retested, wedged, broke out, looking for 53 and 60. Oscar finally broke out of a multi-month consolidation base, breakaway gap last Wednesday, and it's been running. I suspect we retest 23 and make it into the high 20s. PAO, that's a tech trader swing as well. Breakaway gap, flag, rising channel, $8 target. Beyond that, that's a major breakout. PCT went ballistic last week. Children's Place literally went from 4.5 to 9.5, more than doubling in 3 days on big volume for that stock, and broke out above everything except your next target now is 12. Phantom Pharmaceuticals break out of a large coiling base and has gone from literally from 10 to almost 20. What was the high recently? 1967 from about 10 and a quarter. It is at the channel top. It is near lateral resistance as well. We may need to get some pullback in this area, but I like a long-term pattern and the breakout of a big base, which could lead to mid to high 20s. Impinj, one of our favorites this year, popped out of the base. I put a swing on it in the low 60s. It has tripled, tagging 190 on Friday. Now, I'm not going to be surprised if this stock makes it much higher into the 212, 15, 20 range. Palantir, been a tech trader swing for months and continues to channel up. This is new multi-year highs. The all-time high was reached in 20. That was that spike high at 45. We might very well get to 40, 45 on this one. Philip Morris, another one of those big consumer product stocks with fantastic charts as money poured into the quality stuff. This is literally gone from 87 to 127. It doesn't look done yet. 135.40 target. Poet popped out of a base, pulled back in a three-wave corrective, retesting the breakout, and then popped again to resistance and pulled back and from the coil. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth wave gets us to 6. I'm looking for 4.5 and 6 on this one. PRCT, something new I put up this weekend. Beautiful long-term base. Breakout, pull back, pop, and wedging. I think 94 is the target. Parsons, another terrific-looking tech stock. Breakaway gap, little wedge, pop. Looking for 107. Personalis breaks out of a base, spikes and wedges, pops falling wedge or coil. It's bubbling under right here. If it gets over 6, 610, it could be 8, 9, and 10. Rail, one of the stronger stocks in the last 60 days, literally has gone from 312 to 1060, more than tripling, and yet it doesn't look done, but it is extended. All-time highs, my next target, mid-teens. Red Cat broke out of a base, wedge, popped, and did it again. At this point, it's bouncing I have a target of 4.5. REFR broke out of a little coil, this little low price stock, after having a multiple wave move up, consolidated, popped, couldn't get the resistance as a falling wedge. It's right near what I consider the possibilities of a channel bottom. And should it hold here and pop, once we get to 240, your targets are 290 and 415. Rocket Lab, well, it broke out and pulled back for a couple, 3 weeks in nice orderly fashion. Then last week exploded every day, went from under 6, 7.5, targeting 8.25.5. RNA has been one of our better swings this year. Broke out with a pop. We put a swing on it right down there about the 7.8 level. It made it up to 50. No, not quite. 48.8. Now coiling. We get a pop. I would look for 50 and 55. Roku coming out of a base, wedged, and then popped and broke out inside day Friday, looking for 82. RSI, beautiful long-term chart. Has some resistance rate on Friday's high. Next target is 12 and 15. Resolute, big run-up, large multi-week, multi-month coil, and a breakout early in the week. Now flagging here. 6 and 7 targets. SARV with a monster explosive move that took it from like 2 to 22, 24. Yeah, 24. And then 6-week declining falling wedge. It popped Thursday and it spiked Friday. I need it above 9, 20, 25. Then you can look for 11, 12, 13. Sezzle, one of my institutional clients' favorite long-term plays. Thinks it's a $300 stock. I can't argue with him based on this. And let's see, based on what I'm seeing, this could be $400 stock. But right now I'm looking for from 151 to 175 and 200. SFM, beautiful rising channel. Spike up to 120 would be a target for me. What a great chart. SMMT spiked and coiled and then ran up and exploded. And you can see how this stock may be extended in this range, but momentum could carry it into the 40 range. Shark Ninja, this is something I've been following for a long time. And look at the way this thing looks. New all-time highs. This has literally gone from high 20s to 103 over the last year. Pretty amazing move. I don't know where it stopped, but I wanted to show it to you. It's at the top of the channel. SOC, unusual stock, thin. It exploded, and now it's wedging. This has gone from 10 to 25, but it's done it in a 1, 2, 3. This could be 4, and it could take some time, but eventually a fifth wave might take this to 30. SPRY is a tech-traded swing. It broke out and popped and pulled back in a wedge, but it held the moving average. It's moving again. $18 target. SRTS, now in a consolidation for the last 6 weeks within a rising channel. 7.5 and 10 are targets for this. AT&T, what do you know? Look at this. Highest level since in 3 years. It might very well extend even further. Whatever's up here, I don't know, but technically it looks like 25 may be doable. In the cannabis area, my favorite is TCNNF. Popped out of a wedge that's been forming for months and got right to resistance. If this one should take out 11.25.5, we might see 14 and 18. Teva is in a beautiful rising channel. It has been since November when it was 7-8 range. It got up to 19. Through that level, 22 and 24 are targets. Technoglass, also an institutional client of mine, favorite pick. Thinks it's a big number. I agree. Look at the long-term chart. Near-term target, 75. TGTX, rising channel as well. This biotech stock has legs. Looking for 27 and 32. Tigo, this telecom company, broke out of a base here. Created a rising channel. Top of that channel says 32 is the target. TKNO went ballistic from 1 to 5. It's now a 1, 2, 3, 4. Check out the wait for flag in here. coil. Pop tells me 6.5 would be a target. Watch for that. Toll Brothers, the builder. Look at that chart. Low 40s to 150. My target now is 175. Track, Reposite Track broke out of a base, coiled, popped, did it again. It's got very strong indication of going higher. 24 target. Trupanion in the pet insurance group, it's insurance, broke out and it's flagging. On a Friday, it popped right back up again. If this one gets up through 49, we're looking at mid-60s. Tetra Tech. Broke out of a coil and is running. This is a water treatment company, engineering construction, I believe. Here's your rising channel. I'm targeting 55. TVTX breaking out of a base and spiking. It's at the channel top near term, but at this point, I'm looking for a move to 16. Unity Software broke out of an inverse head and shoulders. We put a swing on it Thursday. It followed through Friday. I'm targeting 22 and 25.5. UIS, I like this company. I think this left-handed extended V and then a pop-up and a right-handed extended V or cup and handle with a nice little consolidation tells me that if it gets up through 5 3/4, we're going back to 7, 7.5. Another of those blue chip stocks, Unilever, with a beautiful rising channel since April low when most of them did start to move. It's gone from 46 to 66 with a target now of 70. VERI, V bottom, popped out. We put a swing, it backed off, and I think it may have broken support, but it snapped right back. I may reinstitute this one. If we can get to 4.5 3/4, we're looking at 7, 7.5. VIRT broke out of a base and just kept running until the pullback here, which all that did was test the breakout point right there. Then spike and run. It's at resistance here, but the next target is 35. The Viking, because so many of you are interested, is now in a consolidation base that appears that if it gets through 71, it could fly. Might be a takeover, a lot of things happening there. Meridian did fly, and literally in a week has gone from 13.5 to 22. There is big resistance at 24. That would be a near-term momentum target, maybe 26, but be careful, it's extended. VRNA, multiple waves up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the fifth wave consolidation, which is usually less reliable, broke out. So now I'm going to look for 38. WGS. Beautiful chart. I put a swing on it there. It just kept running. It's gone from 13 to 38. At this point, 50, 55 target zone. Walmart, despite the split, continued to go higher. It's now at an all-time high across 80. What a chart. Clear Secure, that's YOU, broke out here and just kept running. My target is 34. Zeta, one of our better swings this year, popped. We put a swing on it. It's just kept going, literally from the 10-12 range to 28, targeting 35. And finally, ZVRA, pop, pullback, pop, wedge, and broke out. I got a $10, $11 target on this one. That's quite interesting. Look at the long-term base that's being broken here. Very interesting. You can see why that would be the target for starters. So that's it on the longs. There are a few shorts. I don't want to emphasize shorts here. My list is short because I've eliminated some stuff. But let's take a look at why they're still on the list. Well, first of all, BPMC was just added here. Now, it did bounce off the first target range, and I would stop over 96. I don't know if that happens, though. Target, mid-70s. Disney, well, it's a V bottom of the platform, so it could pop. I wouldn't get excited about Disney until I see at least a takeout of 92.5 and then 95. Those are your resistance levels. HUBS still in a long multi-week bear wedge after breaking a head and shoulder top. It doesn't look good at all. Did not participate in the market rally. A bad sign in terms of relative strength. Target 430. INFA, ditto. It did bounce to the channel top, so if it fails here, it rolls over. This is a large 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave, 1920. But don't let it pop and break out here. If the market runs, it could. JBL, also back to resistance. Lateral price resistance in here. PACCAR, still in a declining channel. I don't like the look of this, but it could break out over 198 would be a stop. Under a 90.91, we can see the stock in the mid and low 80s. Schwab, not participating at all, and if financial stocks roll over, this could get slammed back to 56.7. Below that, low 50s. Tidewater, some of these oil stocks look terrible. This is a rounding top, breakdown, rising wedge, bear wedge, and then another breakdown. It did rally off of or near support around here. Next target is down in the 56.7 range. Urban Outfitters broke down, formed a bear flag. We showed you that. It dropped from 42 to 34. Trying to bounce in here, but quite weak. And Weatherford also broke down from the bear wedge. We put a short on it. That one worked. It went from 111 to 87 at target number 1. If it consolidates in here, you may see this in the mid-70s. Yelp bouncing, but still within a downtrend. Keep an eye on that one. Cover over 35.6. CMG, after the big split, came down and formed a big bear wedge. Now, I don't know if it's a base or a bear wedge, so I can always stop this one over 57.8 range, but a breakdown here could be disastrous and drop it into the 40s. FCX bounces off the double bottom as copper rose last week, so it's kind of dependent on the price of copper, but it's not a pretty chart. Head and shoulder top, breakdown to the neckline, snapback, and then pull back and retest. InMed's been in the downtrend for 2-3 years, literally gone from 100 into the teens, so it might snap back at some point. Just be on alert to cover over 17.5. Qualcomm, another head and shoulder top breakdown, bear flag, and then pull back. Now it's retested and it's bouncing a little bit. Still, I would keep a stop over 177. My target is 157 and 137. And that's it today for the TechTrader.com weekend webinar. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. I will talk to you Monday. Take it easy.